Hey guys, Scripted Review with another video, and it's been very interesting watching the Forbes play here when it comes to Disney. So they were the ones who went into some of the depths of the money losses that Disney has suffered in terms of the Lucasfilm branch of Disney, and sort of coming to the conclusion that they've really only made back about 2.8 billion of the 4.1 billion that they paid George Lucas for Lucasfilm, based on, you know, all the expenses, the marketing, a couple of the flops, you know, like Solo was a flop, Indiana Jones 5 was a flop. They're not getting as much subscription service stuff, and I know the Acolyte has a lot less viewers than Ahsoka, according to Nielsen and outside sources. Disney's claiming that it had like 4.8 million its first night or whatever, but I need a third party to give me those numbers because I have no idea whether Disney's telling the truth or not, right? They could say anything. So the Acolyte Episode 3 review, one of the most disappointing Star Wars episodes ever made. I think it is the most disappointing ever made in every kind of way. And it's not just about the women and the fact that they made a kid through the Force, that they don't even know what the Force is, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff is really super disappointing, and making the creation of a Jedi or a Force user through the Force commonplace diminishes it. And I know you're going to say, oh, it's not commonplace. It kind of is. These are just random witches who somehow created life, something that Plagueis couldn't do, and or I guess he could do it to an extent, and all these other things, and then of course the Anakin being conceived through the Force. They've never really explained exactly how that works, but it just diminishes stuff. Because again, and this I'll start reading here in a second, but I'll go back to my original point I've been making, guys, since Disney bought this thing, and if you've been following my channel, you know this, and that is Star Wars never should have been live action on TV. Even something like this, like even if you think it's okay, right, that it's not like a lore breaker or whatever, it cheapens it because it's being done in a streaming TV show that kind of looks cheap, even though the budget is enormous. They must be laundering money. You know what I mean? Like it diminishes it when you have really, really massive canon stories and huge, huge stories issues, which this would be or should be. But it's on a TV show. It's not in a movie. They never should have done live action Star Wars on television. That was the big, huge mistake that they made. Now, of course, there's a myriad of other mistakes in terms of the writing, in terms of the lore breaking, in terms of just the feeling of it, in terms of what they think about the Force and what balance in the Force, all those issues that I've covered for years. But putting it on a TV screen makes it even worse, as far as I'm concerned. The third episode of Disney's The Acolyte is an embarrassment to the entire franchise, though the same could be said for so much Star Wars these days, outside of Andor and the first two seasons of The Mandalorian, which I would agree, those are really the only highlights, other than, I guess, Rogue One, although Rogue One causes a little bit of continuity issues. It's a decent film. Andor is good, but it's fairly generic. I always said that. It kind of just has a Star Wars skin, but it's a good show, though. Like, there's a lot about it I like. And, of course, the first two seasons of The Mandalorian are pretty good. They have their issues, but they're pretty good. They're not just a complete tire fire like this one. Here's one exchange between two characters in the latest episode. May, the Jedi are bad. Osha, the Jedi are good. It is like the dialogue in this show is really, like, lowbrow. Like, really lowbrow. Later, the same two characters, the twin protagonist and antagonist of the story, as children in this flashback episode, say to one another, "What have you done? What have you done? What have you done?" Yeah, like, it's just awful. I want to ask Disney the same question. What have you done? This entire episode is a bad joke. We learn that May and Osha lived with their mothers in a society of witches, all of whom are female. It appears they were conceived using the Force or something. Force-using witches are also apparently frowned upon in this galaxy. They call the Force the Thread. I'm getting dark side vibes here, though I'm also getting the sense that this show will try to be all edgy and make the Jedi out to be the bad guys, which we've seen play out about half a dozen times at this point. Yeah. Yep. They're just blurring the lines, right? They have their set of morality, the people that are making these shows. From a worldview perspective, they're the type of people that, like, morality is subjective. or my truth, my morality, my truth. The problem with that is that what if your morality says that you get to have, a 12-year-old bride in Saudi Arabia or something like that? I would call that morally reprehensible. So when you start making morals sort of all over the place, then bad things tend to happen. We've seen this in history many times. But that's their worldview, and so they're trying to put that into Star Wars and make sort of this gray area. I've talked about this before, right? It's like the kid who puts all the different colors of chewing gum in his mouth, and then it ends up just being a gray blob that's disgusting and flavorless at the end. That's kind of what they're doing now. And it's not edgy, and it's not cool. And George Lucas made it very clear what Star Wars is. It's very much good and bad, timeless issues. So no, Osha and May fight with one another constantly and are very, very irritating throughout the episode. Osha wants to leave her people and May wants to stay. Just one other point about the witches and making Osha and May. If the witches knew how to do this is another major dumb thing about this show. So there's like a whole bunch of middle-aged witches. Then there's the super old lady. And then that's it. And then there's just Osha and May. So Osha and May are supposed to carry on the COVID, but there's only going to be 2 of them. There's no other kids. So all these middle-aged ladies are going to be dead in 30, 40 years. And so this is going to be Osha and May anyway. So it's kind of a weird... The whole way they went about this was just... It's just a weird show. The Jedi show up and ask to test the girls for their Force powers. They agree to fake not having any, but Jedi Master Soul convinces Osha not to lie, and she says she wants to be a Jedi and leave with them against her mother's wishes. And again, they don't explain what the Jedi are even doing there. It's apparently like a backwater planet that isn't even part of the Republic, but whatever. May is upset and threatens to kill her sister, which is insane, locking her in their chambers and burning the entire witch village to the ground, apparently killing everyone. It seems clear there's more to the story, blah, 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 blah. And the 4 Jedi, Indara, Tommen, Wookiee Jedi, and so do we not know the Wookiee Jedi's name yet still? No, they've said it. I remember them saying it. I just don't remember what it is either. Soul saves Osha and they escape. May appears to fall to her death, but we know better since she's in the 3rd episode. And that's the thing that sucks about this show too. The flashback should have been the 1st episode. Because now we already know May doesn't die. So she just falls down a hole and lives. It's like, dude, why didn't you make this the 1st episode so we wouldn't know that May's still alive? So that when we see that scene of May fighting Indara or whatever, Trinity from Matrix, we might in our minds think, oh my gosh, that could be Osha. Because May died. Or is it May? Did she? Like, it would create some of that sort of drama in people's minds. But these people are so dumb with the way that they make these shows that they didn't even think of that. And that was like, that's base level. Like, that's the most simple thing you could do. IGN says this episode offers up a lot of tantalizing new layers to how we perceive both the Jedi and the Force. And I would like to know if we use different versions of the word tantalizing. I'm confused about the entire motivation of May, who wants revenge on the Jedi, but is actually the one responsible for killing everyone. Exactly! It doesn't make any sense! It doesn't make any sense! I said this in my review. Why is she mad at the Jedi who... And I thought for sure they were going to have the Jedi, like, force them to be part of the Jedi, but they don't. They're actually very nice about it. They're like, oh, we want to test them if that's okay with you. Yeah, that's okay with me. The moms. Oh, and then they come back, oh, we would like to bring Osha with us. Is that okay with you? If they don't just take them. Like, there was rumors that they were just going to be kidnapping kids. And I was like, are you kidding me? So why May wants to kill all the Jedi and is super mad at them when literally she did everything? Like, so she's nuts, bro. Like, she's a straight up psycho. Killing everybody as if anyone is actually dead. After all, both twins thought the other one was dead. It seems like none of the witches died at all. It seems likely none of the witches died at all. Even if she didn't burn everyone to death, she certainly started a fire, and that she certainly must believe killed Osha at the very least. Yeah, I think he's saying that because the witches are just lying there, and there's not even any really fire around them or anything, and they're dead, I guess, but they're just lying there. It's really weird. Like, they're not burned. Nothing. They're just lying there. I don't know. This whole episode was so bad. The Jedi in episode 2 killed himself over this, it seems. If there's not more to the story, this will make absolutely no sense. No, it makes no sense that Torben or whatever, Tommen, Master Torben, kills himself because of this. He didn't have anything to do with it. The Jedi literally had nothing to do with it. Nothing. Ultimately, the mom let Osha go, said she could go. She didn't end up going until May burned everything down, but that's not, what are you feeling guilty for, Tommen or whatever from Game of Thrones? What? That had your beard shaved short even though you've been meditating for 10 years? It doesn't make any sense. The witch chant was one of the lamest chants in the history of all of chants. I wanted to giggle maniacally listening to it. I laughed my head off. The Night Sisters are better witches. Merrin from the Jedi Fallen Order series, Fallen Order and Survivor, is a better female witch character than anyone on the show. She is. I still don't like the Night Sisters. I don't like witches in Star Wars. I think it's very generic. I like the Force to be mysterious. I've said this many times. You don't need to bring generic magic from every other fantasy genre into Star Wars when Star Wars has something unique and different and special. But, of course, Dave Filoni is really into, that stuff, so he added it in. This show had something like $180 million for its budget, which is something like $22 million an episode. I cannot for the life of me tell where any of it is gone. No, you can't. It's money laundering. Every world feels small. Every set feels claustrophobic. There's no sense of scale or variety. It's also relentlessly generic, but hey, lightsabers. Yeah, I would love to know where the money went. Because even inside the witch's, coven, it's this huge fortress. It's massive. But when you're in it, it feels tiny. There's the rooms, there's no big vast... You know how, when you think of, Lord of the Rings, right? You go to, the Mines of Moria or whatever, and they first go in there, and it feels kind of claustrophobic and small, right? And then they fight the cave troll. But then when they get out of there and they open up into the big hall, you're like, whoa, this place is huge. That's what I was expecting, because when they show the outside shot of the fortress that the witches live in, the thing is absolutely enormous. So I was expecting, at some point we were going to get some sort of huge room or, something, and there just was nothing. It was all just little sets that they made in a soundstage. And I was just where did the money go for this? It doesn't even make any sense. Rewatching The Escape with Sol and Osha, this room with a pile of bodies is clearly not from a fire. So yeah, there's more to this, but that doesn't change how ludicrous the whole "I'll kill you" bit is. And how May very much tried to burn her sister to death. Of course, it could also be a bad production design, in which case maybe they did die from a fire or smoke. That's the only thing, but there's no smoke. This sucks. Regardless, what a weird way to end the episode. The girls fight, the fire spreads throughout what appears to be a stone cave, and then suddenly they're passing all these bodies. We didn't hear any commotion or screaming or battle. It's more confusing than true. Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, very good point. This is a good article. That's something I didn't think of either. There's no commotion. People aren't running and screaming or anything. And all of a sudden, they're just dead. Which is low budget, right? That's low budget. If you were doing a fan film and you just couldn't afford to shoot all these extra scenes of fire and smoke and people running around, you would just show the dead bodies just to convey the story you're trying to tell. But this is a $22 million episode, and it honestly looks like not even a $2 million episode. And what's up with the tree? Someone has captured the chant footage. This was put in an actual TV show we're supposed to take seriously. Second tweet. They put Jacob in there. They put Suggs in the article. Oh, this guy, God love him, whatever, but everything they do is just the best ever. It doesn't matter how dumb it is. It doesn't matter. All these points this guy makes in this article about the stupidity, it doesn't matter. He doesn't care. He's just yes! It's so awesome! It's so unique, also reminiscent of the Phantom Menace in so many ways. No, it's... How, though, Jacob? How is it foreshadowing anything? We already know that she lives. It would have been foreshadowing if they did this episode first. It could have been foreshadowing if they did this episode first. I have no words. I do have a theory. Whoever imposters have taken over Star Wars and lots of other popular genre properties, The Witcher or True Detective. Maybe they're fans. Maybe they're not. But they're certainly masquerading as good storytellers. And they think they know best, making whatever changes they see fit to make it their own. Yeah. Yeah. And George Martin, everywhere you look, there are more screenwriters and producers eager to take stories and make them their own. It does not seem to matter whether the source material was written by Stan Lee, Charles Dickens, Ian Fleming, Roald Dahl, Ursula K. Le Guin, J.R.R. Tolkien, Mark Twain, blah, 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 on and on and on. No matter how major a writer is, no matter how great the book, there always seems to be someone on hand who thinks they can do better. eager to take the story and improve on it. The book is the book. The film is the film. They will tell you as if they were saying something profound when they make the story their own. They never make it better, though. 999 times out of 1,000, they make it worse. 100. That is absolutely true. What a great quote. I didn't read the whole quote. I heard some of it before. Somebody tweeted, I think, like half of that. Man, it's so true. I'd say Star Wars deserves better stewards, but George Lucas didn't do a very good job of that himself in the later years. In fact, the Acolyte keeps reminding me of the prequel trilogy in all the worst ways. Yeah, I mean, the prequels have their issues, there's no question. Well, what a shame. I'll keep watching, and I really do hope it gets better. In fact, next week's episode, which is too short and has an annoying cliffhanger ending, is leaps and bounds better than this one. So that's something to look forward to. Silver linings and all that jazz. It's too short. What is this, like the 25-minute one? Your thoughts? Okay, so yeah, I mean, very good points. And this is Forbes, right? They're going after these guys. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comment section what you think. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Always helps the channel. And check out everything else on my channel and have yourselves a really good day.